My wife lost it when my stepdaughter called me dad, then said she'd divorce me instantly if her dead husband came back. What I did next shocked everyone. Hello Reddit I plus here. I never thought a single sentence could erase a decade of my life, but that night proved me wrong. You're not her dad, my wife spat at me, her voice low and sharp, like she wanted it to cut. Don't ever pretend you are. It started over something small. It always does. Her daughter had come home from school upset because another kid made fun of her science project. I sat with her at the kitchen table, helped her fix it, and when she finally smiled again, she hugged me and said, "Thanks, Dad." I didn't correct her. I never had. That word hit my wife like a slap. She followed me into the hallway, eyes blazing. How dare you let her call you that? How could you ever think you're her father? I tried to keep my voice calm. I told her I wasn't forcing anything, that I was just happy her daughter felt safe with me, that I'd been there for years. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. You don't even have kids of your own. She's mine, not yours. You're nothing to her. I reminded her that I'd been raising her daughter since she was 6. School runs, doctor appointments, scraped knees, nightmares at 3 in the morning. I said I thought I'd earned at least a little respect. You've earned nothing, she said flatly. Then she dropped the sentence that shattered everything. If my late husband walked through that door right now, I would divorce you instantly. For him, without hesitation. I stood there in silence, trying to process that I had just lost to someone who wasn't even alive. But she wasn't done. Don't act noble because you help with homework or play stupid craft games, she sneered. No matter how many stories you read or how many lunches you pack, you are not and will never be her father. That was the moment something inside me cracked. We started sleeping in separate rooms that night. 3 days passed without real conversation. The house felt colder, like it knew I didn't belong anymore. On the 3rd night, I went to her daughter's room. I didn't want her going to sleep thinking the shouting was her fault. She was curled up in bed, glasses slightly crooked, reading a fantasy book I'd bought her. She looked up at me and asked, barely above a whisper, "Is this because of me?" My chest tightened. "No," I said immediately. "Never. This is not your fault. Not even a little." She nodded, but I could tell she didn't fully believe me. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. They feel shifts adults pretend aren't happening. I sat with her until she fell asleep, then went back to the guest room and stared at the ceiling for hours. I thought about the last 10 years, about how every milestone I supported from the sidelines, about birthdays where her late husband's photo sat at the head of the table, about being reminded constantly that I was lucky to be there at all. I realized I had been living in second place to a memory. The next morning, I called a lawyer. 3 months later, I packed my things and moved into a small apartment across town. I left while they were out, because I knew if I saw her daughter's face, I wouldn't have the strength to go. She calls me almost every day. She's confused, hurt. She keeps asking when I'm coming home. I try to explain in ways a kid can understand, but there is no version that doesn't sound like abandonment. That pain hurts more than anything my wife ever said. My wife calls too. She leaves long voicemails, crying, angry, desperate. But not once does she say she misses me. She says her daughter is struggling. She says no one helps with homework anymore. She says she needs me there. Not, "I need you." Not, "I love you." Just, she needs you. The divorce papers are filed. My lawyer says it should be finalized soon. Some nights I sit alone and wonder if I made the wrong choice. If I should have stayed for the kid I raised, even if it meant erasing myself completely. Then I remember her words, that she would replace me in a heartbeat with a ghost. And every time, I know I did the right thing. I thought once I moved out and the paperwork started, things would calm down. I was wrong. When my wife realized begging was not working, she switched tactics. First came guilt. Long messages about how her daughter cried herself to sleep, how she asked for me at dinner, how I was destroying a family. She told me real men do not walk away from children they helped raise. I almost broke, more than once. Then the tone changed. She started hinting that maybe the court would not look kindly on me abandoning a child. She said her lawyer friend told her judges hate men who play dad and disappear. She suggested I should keep paying for school and extracurriculars even after the divorce. Not child support, of course, just the right thing to do. When that failed, she went full pressure. I was served papers accusing me of emotional abandonment and manipulation of a minor. Reading that made my hands shake. The woman who told me I was never a father was now claiming I acted too much like one. My lawyer shut it down fast. There was no adoption, no legal guardianship, no evidence of wrongdoing. The court saw it for what it was. A bitter attempt to scare me into staying useful. She tried one last move. She showed up at my apartment unannounced with her daughter. Seeing that kid standing there, eyes red, holding the jacket I bought her last winter, almost broke me. My wife stood behind her, arms crossed, waiting for me to fold. "She misses you," she said quietly. "You can still come back. We can pretend this never happened." I knelt down and talked to her daughter for a few minutes. I told her she did nothing wrong, that sometimes adults make choices because they have to protect their own hearts. I told her I would always care about her, but I could not live in that house anymore. My wife snapped. She accused me of choosing pride over family. She said I was selfish. She said I was proving I never loved them. I stood up and said something I should have said years ago. "I loved you both, but love does not mean accepting being erased." They left angry. That was the last time I saw either of them in person. The court case ended quietly. No drama, no victory speech, just paperwork and silence. The calls eventually stopped. It has been a year now. I moved again, farther away. New job, new routine. I started therapy. I made friends who see me as more than a placeholder. I even started dating again, slowly, carefully, with boundaries I never had before. Sometimes I still think about that kid. I always will. But I also think about the man I was becoming in that marriage. Smaller, quieter, grateful for scraps of affection. I am not that man anymore. Walking away hurt like hell, but staying would have destroyed me. And for the first time in a long time, my life feels like it actually belongs to me.